I'm Jeff Ismail with IH Parts America.
I'm Mike Moore with Scoutco.
I'm John Glancy. I'm Sean Barber.
And this is the
Great American Buildoff.
Right here on BinderTV. The Great American Buildoff is brought to you in part by Honest Speed Shop, Old Iron Off-Road, Schneider Racing Cams, Scout Lightline Distributors, and Bushwhacker Fender Flare.
Hey guys, I'm Kendra Summer and welcome to the Great American Buildoff. It's hard to imagine that Jeff Ismail started his shop over a decade ago, and now IH Parts America has turned into a real family affair. Jeff Ismail paved the way through his childhood behind the wheel of an international truck, learning to drive in his dad's international work truck. And as Jeff says, some memories can really round out a career.
guys grow up, they either drive what they grew up in, whether it's a Chevy, a Ford, a Dodge. For me, it was international.
And Jeff found working on his own 1976 International led to start the humble beginnings of IH Parts America.
I started this shop here in 2004 at my parents' house in an old pole barn that had just a dirt floor with no doors. The animals doing their thing, you know, and the smell sometimes wasn't too great, but we had a shop.
And one thing that's certain, that family atmosphere remains intact.
He loved doing what he's doing, and then I just fall in love with him too. So as my family, my son and my daughter, so we're hoping to keep it in the family as long as we can.
You know the saying, like father, like son.
I think it's just really fascinating how this international harvester craze is coming back, how more and more people are wanting their vehicles restored to their full potential and bringing it here to us to fine-tune it for them.
And Jeff ramps up the restoration on this 1970 1000D Traveler, or more commonly known as Jeff's career project.
Well, the Travel is kind of like part of the family to me. I've seen it my whole life, just being developed into the amazing rig that it is today.
The on-again, off-again International has been 13 years in the making, a custom build where no expense has been spared.
There's definitely a house wrapped up into that thing. If one were to look at it that way, they could have bought a house instead of putting the money in that Travelall, but it's one sweet ride.
Jeff's team is ready to take on the challenge with shop fabricator Rick Bossy and general manager Darren Shear. Shear tells us while he's not sweating bullets yet, there are a couple of things weighing on his mind.
It would be tough to say whether it be the wiring or the suspension design. Those would be the two, consummate problems and or challenges in the vehicle. Everything's custom.
But this team isn't letting anything get in their way of a big win at the Scout Nationals.
It's a hot vehicle. We're excited to get it done and take it to the Buildoff, so it's going to be amazing.
We think we have a good chance of winning the competition with it. It's that badass.
Lots of the shops in the series were built around family, and Mike Moore and Scoutco are no different, except Mike had one friend who really propelled him to success.
Our shop consists of family. My grandfather had started a trucking company or bought a trucking company in the 30s and ran predominantly international or greatly international trucks on up in through the 70s.
The trucking company wrapped about 10 years ago, so looking for new opportunities, Mike and his wife Jennifer started a vinyl graphics company, and that's when Moore's Scout-loving friend gave them incentive to change career paths.
The way Scoutco started was sort of by accident. I had one persistent acquaintance who would call me twice a year and say, "Will you put floors in my Scout?" So we took that Scout in my spare time. It evolved into a frame-up restoration.
And his first resto not only jump-started Scoutco, but it also gave his husband and wife team a chance to turn into co-workers.
It's actually one of our dates. It was him coming over and plowing snow in my parents' driveway, so we were out there doing that in the Scout. So not until I really met him was I a truck person again.
Working with Jennifer has been a blessing. She can do a lot more than she thinks she can to enable us to be able to focus on what we're good at and what we enjoy doing here in the shop.
And for this year's Buildoff, Mike and Jennifer are building one special Scout for a binder-loving lady.
The Great American Buildoff for 2019, our project is a 74 Scout 2. This is actually the second project from the same household. We did a little bit of work on a Scout for a customer a few years back. I think his wife fell in love with it when he got it home, so this one's for her.
The team's confidence is riding high with this build, but at first glance, it may not stand out from the crowd.
4-inch lift, we had a completely disassembled, powder-coated the frame, painted the axles and springs and whatnot with DuPont Emerald paint, re-geared the axles, 354s. It's got Dana 44 discs front, kind of a no-frills Scout. It's not outside of the LS swap. It's a fairly common build. You could park it in a row of Scouts at a show, and it's not something over the top that's going to stand out. It's just super clean, super solid truck that they're going to have a lot of fun with.
It's easy to say that growing up driving an International Scout is a common thread throughout the series. But Sean Barber is a little bit late to the party.
I actually, until I was probably 20, didn't really know what a Scout was or what International Harvester was. I grew up like around muscle cars and seeing that connection from like kind of the muscle car thing into like finding a truck from that same era, like a Scout, you know? And then I just kind of instantly fell in love with it.
The first project of countless hours and around-the-clock patience paid off and literally paid for Sean's shop.
I bought like this 1978 Scout 2 that had a bad engine. The big irony about that build was it took me probably 6 years of a lot of late nights and time in the garage, and ironically I had to sell it to actually start the Scout business. So I thought that was kind of funny.
It was a shop with a lot of history that fits Sean's new passion to a T.
I'd gotten to know the owner of a business, his name was Jim Marsh. He owned Anything Scout back, it started in the late 80s. And I saw opportunity there, and I was passionate about it.
And the passion has been equally dispersed throughout the family. Sean's daughters Lily and Olivia have grown up in the shop.
The shop can be a fun environment if you make it one. I love the shop. It's basically like my second home. I spent a lot of time here, and some of my earliest memories are here, so I really love the shop.
We really appreciate the guys that work here and kind of take our kids under their wing, so to speak. It's been nice.
Anything Scout is being true to their name, as this year's project embodies everything that their team is so proud to work on.
Yeah, what we have picked out is a 1972 Scout 2, kind of one of our standard Scout 2 Retro Series trucks that'll have modern power, modern reliability and drivability, serviceability, all the benefits of modern technology, but all the aesthetic and vibe of an original Scout.
This might be classified as a meat and potato Scout build for this team, but we want to point out mainstream builds can still present their share of problems.
Probably the most challenging thing is going to be sourcing parts. It's missing quite a few parts, so we'll have to find a hard top for it, seats and interior parts. It's been kind of gutted, so we're starting from scratch there.
Again, this build is a perfect example of everything that is driving the surging market for preserving International Harvester's flagship marquee.
It's probably the most international truck we build as far as like componentry and a nice retro blend of like old and new. But for this one, we want to kind of start with a cool, simple, fun base model that to us really embodies what International intended the Scout to be used for.
In Scout circles, the names Glancy and Super Scout Specialists are certainly well known. John has dedicated his life to preserving International Harvester Scout history and keeps the binder mentality strong.
Well, I guess I was born into it. International Harvester is on my birth certificate as my father's employment. So he started in the 1940s, and I have two brothers that work for International, and then I, after high school, went to work for an International dealer and started piddling with Scouts on the side and selling parts over the counter, and people from all over the country started calling me, and it became the biggest International dealer selling parts after they quit production. I had to go out on my own, and that's where Super Scout Specialist began.
John's hands-on experience rebuilding Scouts started right after high school with his first International truck.
Right after high school, I built a Scout 2, and played with it and rolled it off-road, sold it to a guy in the Army, and it went to the West Coast, and I bought another Scout and another Scout and another Scout and just went from there. Today,
a talented crew of workers has helped shape Super Scout Specialists into a tight-knit team.
I've got a pretty wide array of people that work in the shop, from a girl who does sheet metal work, from parts guys and warehouse people, and we're like a family. It's a pretty good crew.
These folks are the reason I relocated from Northern Michigan down here. Everyone that works for this company is an incredible person.
John and his crew aren't pulling any punches in the Buildoff, taking on a very rare and unique Scout 2.
The truck that we are building for the Buildoff is a 1979 Scout II SS2 with the Midas package, which is a rare option for the Scouts.
And let's just say this international build is not going to be like any other ordinary Scout project.
The bad thing about the Midas is that it had a lot of unique parts that are very hard to come across, and we've got most of them, thankfully. It's just really hard to rebuild a truck like that. There was very few made.
Now this build not only honors its Scout legacy, but it also honors the memory of a lost member of the binder community.
It was owned by a friend who passed away. His name was Mike Kunzelman, and we were building it in his honor.
I know he was pursuing putting it back to restored condition. Didn't get a chance, so hopefully we get that chance, and that's why we picked this truck in particular.
And when he passed away, the community really lost somebody that knew a lot about that particular model. And he always came to our show and was a kind of a pillar in the community. And his wife misses him, and they're very interested to see this project done.
When we last left off at IH Parts America, we learned that the 1970 Travelall has been a project for the shop for the past 13 years. But now it's crunch time.
The shop's been real busy. We've done some work to the Buildoff project.
Things been going really well. The guys have been working really hard trying to get the project done.
But even with all their hard work, there are still times when they simply can't get to the project.
Just sometimes seeing it sit there and not get worked on and go, the Nationals are coming, we got to have this thing done. And
it's going to be right up to the time it gets loaded up onto the truck and heading over there. There's always little things that got to be done to it.
I would just say the amount of ingenuity that goes into it, if everyone can see how much time's been spent to make every little thing work just right, they could really appreciate this build and how much time has been put into it, just thousands and thousands of hours.
But one good thing is it's now moving under its own power and getting taken out of the shop.
Things been moving right along. I've been working on the Travelall a little bit, trying to wrap things up in it.
Just as recent as yesterday, took it out, got wheel alignment done. Now it's ready for the owner to come back up for us to start putting some miles on it and do some engine tuning.
Now, even for a project this far along and so close to being finished, it's not all smooth sailing.
There's been a few little hiccups here and there, really just trying to get all the wiring and stuff wrapped up in it and getting everything working properly. We had a little issue with a power steering leak, just from sitting probably, so we need to probably pull that out and reseal that up, and then we still have tuning to do to it, so that takes a little time. Just trying to get the deadline, coming. It's coming up quick, so.
Even with the challenges ahead, the team is ever confident about their chances of winning the Great American Buildoff.
They're all Scout 2s, so we'll have something totally unique and different. I think because it's a Travelall versus 3 Scouts, there's sometimes people are just like, another Scout, but to see a Travelall, it's different. It's just, it's not the same old.
I have a very good chance that we're going to be the winner.
Our project's just so solid right now that I don't even need to look at the competition. Like this Travelall, once they see it, it'll scare away all the other competition around. Once that thing rolls out of the trailer, it's over. We won.
Most shops in the Buildoff have multiple team members working on their projects. But Mike Moore has just one regular helper, his wife Jennifer. And they're making good progress too.
We've gotten a lot of work done on the truck, a lot of big stuff, body panels and bumpers and stuff that's visible when you look at it. There's a lot of stuff that you don't see that's been done as well. The wiring in the dash, we got all the lights are all working, everything's finished up on that. We've got it running and driving now, which is a pretty big step. At least we don't have to drag it around the shop with a jack.
They also haven't run into any big challenges getting this 40-plus-year-old truck back in shape.
I think we're doing better than we usually are with the Buildoff stuff. We're usually right up to the last minute. This one hasn't been too bad.
The biggest challenge for us is usually time, just everything coming together, waiting on paint, waiting on upholstery, and just having everything we need back in the shop so we can get everything put back together.
If you ask us how much work is left in this thing, I don't like to answer that question, because just when you think you've got a handle on it and you think you got it figured out, something comes out of the shadows and slaps you around, and you don't realize what, this was going to happen. But as far as to actually pinpoint it down and say, oh, it's going to take 30 or 40 hours or whatever, there's no way I would touch that with a 10-foot pole.
With Scoutco being ahead of schedule on the build, it's given the team time to size up their competition in the Buildoff.
All of these shops bring different things to the table. You got John and the guys at Super Scout. They've got that SS2 Midas. That's a super rare truck. It's neat to see the way they're going to do a restoration on it.
Looks like anything Scout and us have something similar, but it's interesting to see what they'll pull out. IH Parts America's Travelall is really something to be reckoned with.
Jeff's obviously going to blow it out of the water with his Travelall that they've been working on forever. I look forward to seeing it because we've seen it along the way.
Even though the Scout is their entry, it's still a restoration project for a customer, and they plan on delivering it to a client well before the Buildoff.
We're excited to get this build done. Our customer has been waiting, and they're excited to get it for the summer, and we're ready to get it all put back together and get it out to them.
The last time we paid a visit to Sean Barber's shop, they were dragging their Buildoff project through the snow. So today we're circling back and finding out about the progress made at Anything Scout.
Since last time we brought it in, we got it all torn down. That's kind of the first step in our process, get it torn down. Did our inspection. We kind of looked through all the individual parts, like how are the seams on the bottom of the doors, like blah, 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 door gaps. We kind of just pre-inspect all that stuff so we know how to better put it back together.
The rear axle was in worse shape than we thought, but that's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to rebuild those. So
frame went to powder coat, and in that process we do like our exhaust hangers, all that kind of stuff. So the frame's fully prepped out and waiting to get blasted. So that's the next phase on the body.
Digging deeper into this project, Sean's team actually made a cool discovery about this binder's path.
We actually discovered that it has like some military roots. There was just some badging and different things for the military, which is pretty cool. And it's early. I think we said it was a 72, but I think it's actually a 71.
Now it turns out the other secrets being carried around in the Scout are not necessarily bad ones.
For the most part, there haven't been any real big surprises. It's a really clean truck, so.
But one thing that's not secret to this shop is the stiff competition from the other three shops.
So I think IH Parts America has a 13-year head start on us for this project, but
they're all cool. The Ishmael's Travelall is a beast of a project, but I have to say the one that I'm most excited about is Super Scout Specialist, their SS2 Midas edition. Just because it's so rare, so iconic. Scoutco and Anything Scout, we're building something that's pretty similar, so that'll be cool. It's gonna be cool to see them all kind of get fleshed out.
At the end of the day, a lot of other people build great stuff too, and I think we all appreciate all of it.
A lot of them have been doing it for much longer than we have, so we're glad to meet those people and see their work and see how we can make our work better,
So all the other teams are definitely buzzing about this one. The guys at Super Scout Specialists pulled out all the stops, picking a very rare Midas edition 1979 Scout 2 SS, but the working space for this build has definitely been a challenge.
Well, for the last 6 months, we've been moving our location, about 30 years worth of accumulated stuff, and that has taken away from a lot of the shop time. Plus, we're kind of backed up with customer service work. We have managed to do some work on the Buildoff truck.
We have made some headway with the project, and not much, just because of as busy as we've been with the move and all that good stuff. We're running a little behind schedule, but we're getting there.
Even with all the interruptions, the team has still been able to get the bigger pieces of the build started.
Making some progress. We were able to get the body tub off the chassis and get some of the panels removed, and preparation began on the process of restoration. We've got a pretty good tub. We've got a lot of the parts gathered. We've been hunting for some things, trying to get them together. Yeah, so making some progress, gaining ground, slowly but surely.
Don Miner's a service manager, and he's pretty much the only one hands-on. Rob is rounding up parts, but Don has done the most work on it, spent the most time.
But time may not be a luxury the team can afford, since the new shop and customers still have to be taken care of during their build.
There are some things that we are going to have to do that we weren't really seeing ahead of time, so we've made some strides. We're at a point now where we can start fixing and putting back together, which is really a big step. When you start getting to the cleaning after the disassembly and the final disassembly of the chassis, and all that will be next. But that part should go pretty quick.
We are still under the gun on time to work a lot on the project, so we're still trying our best. We got to keep our day-to-day operations going and keep the customers happy, so we just have to do as much as we can and with as little time as we have.
And just like the other shops, as this team digs deeper into their build, they can't help from peeking at what the competition is working on and what they're going up against.
I think all those guys are pretty talented at what they do, so I think they're all great. I think it'll be fun to see what everybody manages to accomplish on top of their very busy schedules and lives.
The one is the 13-year project of IH Parts America, the Travelall. That's going to be hard to beat with them having so much time spent on it. And the other two are pretty much LS Scout 2 builds, all very nice vehicles. But I think the Travelall will be the most challenging.
It's nail-biting time as we check in with IH Parts America and Scoutco for those last-minute problems. Now, there's still plenty of issues to iron out as we check in with Jeff Ismail's shop in California.
We're just trying to get it all wrapped up. Upholstery is just done, and a couple little leaks to deal with and a couple little tuning issues, but I think we'll have it there. We're just hoping that the auto transport shows up. Otherwise, I don't know what we're going to do to get it out there. Plan B is to make Plan A work. It's win or fail. That's it, man.
You know, really, it's just making sure just the door's shut, the truck runs, and it moves.
We had some issues with the dead battery, which runs the airbag system, and of course, you know, with that thing laying on the ground, you can't move it. So, yeah, we had to put a battery in it, make sure the thing was charging.
Darren and Rick, they're awesome. I mean, they handle so much every day, not just working on that project, but many other projects, and they're amazing. They do an awesome job together.
We are going to win, so we don't need to discuss that.
Oh, I'm winning. I'm bringing the trophy home.
And IH Parts America sure isn't lacking confidence, so let's boogie on over to Scoutco, where they already have 2 dynos on the books, and these last-minute problems sure aren't slowing them down.
If we were going to have a last-minute crisis, it would probably be parts availability and parts delivery. We always seem like we're waiting on a body shop or we're waiting on parts. So this one, the body shop is done. Unless we screw something up in final assembly, we're good. And parts, you know, that's always up in the air till the last minute.
I wouldn't say that we're really stressed. It's just fun. Like I said, we've always said everyone is family, everyone gets along great. So it's really just a fun time getting ready for a competition, knowing we're going to go out and see what everyone else has done.
Winning the Buildoff is an awesome thing. We've won twice, and it's a great feeling to do it. But really, again, we're more into this for the people than we are the trucks. So we really feel like we win because we get to go and hang out with these people that we should, I guess, look at as our competitors, but we really look at as family and friends.
We're okay with not winning. In the end, it's all about the customer and giving them a Scout that they've been waiting for.
All right, the clock is ticking down and these teams are out of timeouts as we check in with both Super Scout specialists and Anything Scout. And they're getting ready to push their truck across the finish line to really round out this challenge. Let's check in with Sean Barber in Ames, Iowa.
Towards the end of the build here, it's all about details, details, details. Arguably the most important part of the build, and it's difficult to do when you're moving quickly, but it is the fine-tuned stuff, the fit, the finish, all that little kind of stuff is where really the magic comes.
My biggest fear is that something gets forgotten. Somebody doesn't tighten a bolt, somebody forgets to put a clip in, somebody, you know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you've got 5, 6 guys all working on the same truck.
My biggest fear is like just not having it fully dialed and ready to go and able to drive 1,000 miles to the show.
There's a lot of work to do because we got a lot of other projects also going on, but it'll come together.
Something always comes up and we'll just got to be ready and prepared to meet those obstacles.
Our goal is to make customer happy and to put out something that we're proud of. I'm confident that we'll do that, and so the winning the show that would just be a little cherry on top. So
I mean, what customer wouldn't want a gold medal winning ride? And speaking of gold, we're off to Super Scout specialists to see if there's any last-minute crisis with their Scout 2 Midas Edition.
I'm not sure we have a last-minute crisis. We're just doing the best we can to get her done, and a lot of things are interfering. Still looking for some parts, and we've got a long road ahead of us.
We've been so busy here, and with the move and that, it's been pretty tough.
The biggest challenge with the project since the last show has really been time constraints and just not enough hours or days in the week. There's just so many other things to work on, and we hosted a car show here and some other events, just so many other things that have to be done in a day. to not be able to dedicate much time to the project. That's really our hindrance right now and our biggest challenge that we need to overcome.
A plan B, if we don't get it finished, hopefully would be to maybe the chassis and the engine painted, and we take it over for people to look at it like an in-progress project, and we would defer till next year.
Hey guys, I'm Kendra Summer with the Great American Buildoff. We're here in Troy, Ohio at Scout Nationals. Let's check in with everybody and see how the journey went. Historic Waco Field in Troy, Ohio is once again the center of the International Harvester world. Proud binder owners from all over the nation make their way here to show off a variety of the finest binder creations around. This show now hands out over 100 awards for all international trucks manufactured between 1907 and 2013.
30 years of the International Truck and All Truck Nationals is quite a milestone. 30 years of ups and downs, 30 years of different people, different vehicles, and it kind of is the glue that holds the community together.
Another highlight of the Nationals is the awarding of the Great American Buildoff crown. But everyone knows it's a huge challenge to get these works of art ready and completed on time for this competition. And this year was certainly no different for the 4 different shops competing.
3 made it. They're all great vehicles, and I think each build shop that has built a vehicle should be proud of what they've done.
Now the real heartbreak here is John's team at Super Scout Specialists couldn't finish their rare Midas SS Edition Scout 2 when shop manager Don Miter was forced to drop out of the competition due to an unexpected surgery.
And so he had to go back to Michigan, and we were unable to finish. Hopefully he'll come back and gear up for next year.
Another team that couldn't complete their build was Sean Barber's Anything Scout crew. So instead of the 1971 Scout 2 build that they've been working on, they brought a build from last year's SEMA show.
We tried really hard to keep going. That truck's actually almost done, but just wasn't going as quick as we could make it. And you can't rush a project just to get it done for a show, because you got to maintain that quality and all that kind of good stuff.
Mike Moore's Scoutco team was confident they'd make it all along, but the 2-time winner and reigning Buildoff champs took a more conservative approach with their LS-powered 1974 Scout 2 build.
We've been here before where we've had stuff that was over the top and crazy. This one's more kind of subdued and pulled back to where it's more like what you would see more commonly. But the harder you look, the more solid the truck is and the better the truck is.
Finally, one team has had 13 years to prepare for this event. Jeff Ismail's IH Parts America team has been crafting this travelall since 2004, but now they aren't sure if they want to see it finished.
Oh my God, we're gonna be crying to see that thing leave. It's like been a part of our shop for so many years. Anytime you look at it, there would be, hey, don't go work or cut a piece of metal there because the travelall is there. So to finally put closure on such a long-term project like that, yeah, it's gonna be nice, but again, sad thing to see it finally leave.
Hey guys, I'm Kendra Summer with the Great American Buildoff. It's finally come down to this, and we're gonna find out who's gonna take home this trophy. This is the award our teams have come to Troy, Ohio in hopes of claiming. But these rolling works of art are more than just entries in a competition. They also serve as build inspirations for the International Harvester faithfuls at this year's IH Scout and All Truck Nationals.
It's so nice to have the vehicles sitting there and people can go get ideas from them or get inspiration from what's there and go on home and be all fired up and charged up about their vehicle and what to do with it.
For Scout co-owners Mike and Jennifer Moore, the competition not only showcases their skill set, it also gives these 2-time Buildoff winners a chance to study the wide variety of approaches used by everyone here.
I think when you stop getting new ideas and changing the way you do things, something's wrong. That's one of the biggest things we like to do is look at things, and it doesn't matter if it's another person in the build-off or if it's just an individual that built it in their garage. It's awesome to see the way things are done, the little neat things that people do that are different.
Even though his team ran out of time and was unable to finish the build they had started for the competition, Anything Scout owner Sean Barber brought one of his custom Scout builds he had done for the SEMA show because he feels strongly about encouraging new builds and the IH family as a whole.
We want to help educate, inspire, connect people, tell our story and include people in on that story so that it inspires them to get out and build memories with their families and seeing like local communities and hubs of particularly Scout owners popping up is just, that's awesome.
John Glancy's Super Scout specialist had taken on a project with the most interest, a rare Midas Edition Scout 2, but with the demands of a new location and his build leader dropping out due to health issues, this somewhat faithful restoration will finally be completed and ready for next year's build-off.
Because it's going to be sort of a modified stock combination, we're not going to go as radical as them and try to keep tribute to the originality of the Midas package.
For the IH Parts America team led by Jeff Ismail, this event marked the culmination of 13 years of work on their highly modified and customized Travelall. And although it's a radically different vehicle from the Scout entries, Jeff sizes up his competition and acknowledges a winner is way too close to call.
Really nice craftsmanship. Definitely different direction than we went, you know, where you have a couple Scouts versus our Travelall. So it's definitely the Travelall versus Scout. We'll see where the people end up at. Each build was unique and went a little bit different direction. So it's kind of cool not to see the same old thing over and over.
At the end of the event, over 100 awards were handed out, all capped off with the awarding of the most coveted prize.
Great American Buildoff Challenge. This is tough, man. But the winner is right there. IHPA.
It's always inspiring coming out here and seeing all the different things people put together. And we definitely still pick up ideas, you know. I mean, although we're creative, everyone's creative with their own ways. And, you know, you walk up and to a lot of people, you know, if I come up and say, hey, that's pretty cool, that's a great idea. They're like, oh, I appreciate the compliment. I'm just giving what's deserved, you know. I mean, that's thinking out of the box.
We want to preserve these vehicles for the younger generations and make sure that future generations can enjoy them. I guess the next 30 years is about preserving the marquee. It's about making people happy and letting them share their love for the vehicles with other people.
I'm Kendra Summer. Thanks for watching. And to find out more about all the shops and projects, head on over to BinderTV.com.